Hello, everyone. My name is Kathleen Francis, and today I'm starting something new in a new venue and in a new era of what I have experienced in my life and what I've presented in my life. I'm here in the beautiful Red Rock country of Sedona at the Humankind Center. John Strayer created something that is unique and precious and powerful, and something that has the highest intention for humanity. And so I find it a privilege to work with John and to be in this wonderful space that he has created all on his own. I'm going to call him Mr. Magician, Jan, and that I think is exactly what he is. I've watched him in action. I have been present to the magnificent location that is like his own work of art. For myself, I started on the air when I was actually 9 years old on the radio. I became a disc jockey at the age of 16. I've had my own television show in Los Angeles, RSVP Hollywood, with the privilege of interviewing some of the world's most famous, both in the arena of the entertainment industry and also many of the sports celebrities, fearsome foursome, and etc. And this is a new era for me in this way. From the time that I was born, I have to say, because I remember things before I could speak. My mother was actually quite worried because I didn't talk by the age of 3, but I understood everything. I had, as many of us have had, a very traumatic beginning. Years later, I figured out that what my mother had was the baby blues. And as a result of that, basically, I didn't have a mother because she was not able to be present with me. She went to Reno, Nevada for many, many journeys. I was left with the neighbor who just had twins. So there were 3 babies that were being housed and cared for at the Gustafson house. And basically what I realized was the gift there is that I was left to myself. I can perhaps see it as a traumatic beginning, which it was, because my mother killed herself when I was 5 years old. But with the knowledge and the understanding that I have now in the present state of mind and consciousness that I am, all of that was by design a gift for the evolution of who I've become. I can say that from that early childhood, because adults told me many times, as a child, they'd see me just sort of sitting there, staring into the nothingness. And I can connect all the dots that as a child, as a consciousness that comes here to this place, this third dimensional condition that we live in. There are things that we can connect from the age that I am now, which is ageless. And we can see the beginnings to what we are now. And I can say unequivocally that I now understand all of the trauma, all of the challenges, all of the ecstatic, wonderful things that have happened to me, the grace I've been given so many ways. No matter where I've been, I've lived in India, I've gone to China, I've done all of these extraordinary, adventurous things where I've always been favored by whoever it was that was the top dog, whether it was my guru in India, companies that I've created, and I've watched all of this occur with an observational position now. And what I have come to understand, and I've reached a certain peak that is recent, that has brought all of this into focus. So what I decided this year starting was that I was choosing to reinvent myself. And I would like what I present to this audience to see how that resonates with you. Because I had no idea my statement of reinventing myself, how challenging that would be. It's not easy to actually reinvent yourself. I'm on that journey, and a lot has occurred, and I'm sharing that with you. I'm sharing it through this podcast, and I'm sharing it in the experience of what's occurring with me. Because when I've come into my own self, this authentic version of myself, what happens in that space when I feel so connected to Source. I've often said I'm a sorceress, not an evil witch, but the sorceress itself who yearns for, have sought for my whole life to understand how to be connected to whatever we call it, God, Yahweh, Jesus, God, Muhammad, Buddha. It's all the same thing. I've studied it all, and I've come to the real understanding, bringing science back into this understanding. The quantum field, quantum physics, quantum mechanics, it gives us a ground of being to understand where we actually are. So, with that said, today's podcast has come together, in my opinion, through the auspices of Source, the quantum field, God, whatever label we want to call it, because this was not an intentionally designed event. It came together in a flow that I observed and I welcomed. So my guest today on this podcast is quite an extraordinary woman, and I'm so excited to share her with you. And so with that, may I welcome Dagmara.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Yes.
Thank you so much for introducing me that way. Thank you for being here. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for creating this space. Thank you for the master of this amazing ceremony.
It is a ceremony.
It is.
And for all of you, just so you know, Dagmara she has an extraordinary background. And I would like perhaps to just give that little capsule when we spoke on the phone originally. And of course, how we came to be in each other's space was through my partner, Michael Weber, who left this earth November 17th. And I'll let her tell you what occurred so that she can share that with you. But she is a medical intuitive. She creates certain methods to heal you and introduce her wonderful magical ways. So would you give us a little background, please?
Yes. So my name is Dagmara Pospiech. I was born and raised in Poland, and I came to this country in 2002. But before I came in, my dad was an alchemist, bioenergy therapy practitioner. He was helping a lot of people heal, and he taught me about the power of energy, how to use it for the good of humanity, how to protect Mother Earth, how to work as the extension of the source. So I did not share my teachings until probably 2021 with a big audience. Before, it was a very small audience, local audience in Arizona. But at some point I was invited to this wonderful channel that it was in Polish. And this man has asked me, do you have a YouTube channel? And I said, no, I don't. Well, you should create one because people want to hear from you. And I was delighted to share the information that I was given and to share the knowledge. So that was important for me to speak up and maybe help people, inspire people to wake up, inspire people to look at the world as our world, our Mother Earth, our unity together, because we are all consciousness. There is no division between that. We're all one. And I know this deep in my heart. So when I came to Phoenix in 2003, I went to holistic school by Marsha Craven. And she was a wonderful healer. She was a wonderful teacher. She taught me a lot of ways. And that's at that school I learned how to be the medical intuitive. I was able to help people from that moment more. And then I also went to Omega Vector training, which is the Socrates way of asking questions and looking at different perspectives. And then I was really guided to speak to my Slavic audience, which were mostly the Polish people and all the different nations that speak the Slavic languages, because they could understand me. So my channel, Dagmara Arizona, became popular in Poland and among different Polish people around the world, different Slavic people. I wrote my first book. It was kind of like a workbook to help people to actually change the way of thinking and get out of those programming, problems with how we see the world and how we see ourselves. So that was a big deal because people started looking at everything differently. I told people, listen, you need to write checks to yourself from the universe. You are the you are the creator. And they look at me, what do you mean? And until I saw hundreds of responses and from people who changed their life completely by doing that, by coming into the space of I am the creator, I co-create. I co-create with the source because I am extension of the source. There's nothing in between unless we create that blockage.
Yes.
With our programs.
Precisely. Yeah, this has been, my study from so many different angles, that very thing that you're talking about. And, the concept of that we're all one, and there's the oneness movement, so on and so forth. And, I had grappled with that and going, how can we all be one? Is that bum on the street really me? And then as I learned more and more from a perspective of actually getting clarity on the way that the scientifically is true. So the quantum field, the Godhead, whatever name we're going to call it, I've had experiences in the past, direct experiences of what I'm going to say, but I couldn't understand it because I've had transmissions myself. I've had direct experiences of being in that oneness, of actually being in that. I remember even on nitrous oxide in the dentist chair, and I was like way out there. It was like, what? And then coming back into the dental chair and I'm going, oh, and that's why it's laughing gas, because all of a sudden I said, no, the dentist, that's not really who you are. You're not really just a dentist, they were just characterizations of the one. And we are all individuated particles almost of the one quantum field, whatever we want to call it. And so we're all moving towards the ascension. What does that look like? So there are many of us like you and others that we're going to have also on my show, that we are the consciousness pioneers. And we humbly know that that's our job. Mm-hmm. So, what you're sharing with people, I love, because this is what's true. We are the co-creators. How could we not be? Mm-hmm. So suddenly this new the technology of consciousness, for lack of a better word, it's something that requires an understanding in a way that people can say, oh, that's logical. Okay, I can see that. And then suddenly it's that more and more of us able to be in that state of consciousness, we then are able to call forth more. We've broken the doorway. It's come on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're the sparkles.
That's great.
Worldwide, yes. It doesn't matter which culture you come from. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter anything. What matters is what's in your heart. And if your heart is open, that means you are connected with the source very, very strongly. There's probably less conditioning. And that's when you just do everything through joy. You do everything through passion. You do because you feel it. And you don't give excuses. I can't do this because it doesn't bring me money. I can't do this because it's impossible. I can't do this because I don't speak the language. I can't do this because it's too far, or some other things. Or I am sick, I can't do this. Well, stand in the power of I can, because that's the creation. I can is the creation. I am is the creation.
Yeah.
And that's it. And there's no excuses. When you stand in your power and your highest version of yourself, there's no excuses. You just are. You are. You are part of Source. You are part of the creation. And you have your individual talents to bring to this world, to inspire someone, to say good things, to show beautiful art, to be whoever you want to be, to create furniture, to create beautiful space like this, whatever it is. That's your particular, unique creation.
And you become a demonstration of the concept itself.
Yes.
And you, I mean, just being with you, I mean, we didn't seek out each other, but what you, with your intuitive abilities, share with the audience about how this happened.
Well, Michael, dear Michael, our dear friend, he transitioned in November, and he always talked about you. I still hear his voice in my ears, and he's here with us today. And he said, Kathleen this, Kathleen that. And I can't forget it. I can't, because he was so passionate about this relationship, this friendship, the things that we were all doing, you were doing with him. And we were just co-creating everything. And we were all connected. We didn't even know we were connected.
That's right. Because you and I have only met in person today.
Yes.
Today.
Yes.
But you, with Michael's urgings, you reached out to me and you said, tell me.
Well, we met at the funeral. We saw each other online.
We had a celebration of his life on Zoom. And that was our first recognition of each other at the time. Go ahead.
Yes, and it was so beautiful to see Michael's world, the people he loved, because I heard about you. I heard about
Cher, his girlfriend.
Yes, I heard about Maria. I heard about all his friends and family, and it was so beautiful to see those beautiful people there. And it was very touching, because I said, oh, wow, I miss Michael, and I want to get to know all of you. I want to get to know you. And he talked about you quite a bit. So I said, okay, I need to meet you. I have to. There's no other. It's not like I'm doing this for myself. I'm doing this for some reason that is higher than me. There is a reason we are supposed to meet. There is a reason. I don't even know what we are about to talk about. I didn't know why I'm coming to Sedona, other than, I haven't been in Sedona for 12 years. And I live in Arizona.
Yeah. So all of a sudden she's coming. We didn't really plan this, and yet here we are. And there's something magical about surrendering into allowing the synchronicity. My not planning this. I'm not doing the doingness that I was so used to has started to fall away. And instead, just the allowing for what is coming shows up in a way that is beyond wildest expectations.
Because we try to explain things as a human being. We're trying to make it make sense. Well, we don't need to make it a sense of it. We don't need to understand it. We don't need to know why this is happening. We just need to know this feels right. This feels like me. This feels exciting. This feels so fun. I want to do it. And people ask me, oh, how are you traveling around the world? How are you making money? How are you not working? You don't have a job. And I said, because I'm in a flow of the vortex of the spiral energy of the creation.
Yes.
And it takes me everywhere I need to go.
Perfect.
Everywhere. And it brought me to you through Michael. I think he initiated a little bit. He's like, okay, this is the time we meet. Because he always told me, you need to meet Kathleen. You need to meet. She's a wonderful person. Such a beautiful words came out of his mouth. He was so happy talking about you, how much you co-created together, helped so many people, and inspired so many people. So
it's true. He would tell me, he'd come in, when he was already living with Cher for the last 5 years, but he'd come into the shop and he'd sit down on, the chair right there in the center of the shop. And over he would say, there's nobody like you, Kathleen. There's nobody like you. And I miss him telling me that, because he had a comprehension of who I am that sometimes I felt I had to live into. When someone sees you at such a level, suddenly you want to honor what they see, because sometimes we don't see it ourselves.
Yes.
And so, my guess is he probably said that in your ear, right?
Yes. Yes. You are amazing. You're beautiful. You're talented. You're full of joy, passion, compassion. And you are just like this beautiful butterfly that just goes and just spreads cheer into this world. That's how I see you.
Thank you. Thank you, because the butterfly was always my symbol. And there's something so amazing to have anyone actually comprehend you and reflect it back to you in such a powerful, articulate way that this is where we're all going. We shared this just a little while ago, because I have something, I came upon this frame. I have to send it to you. And it says, it's not about how many breaths you take. It's about how many moments that take your breath away. And I have a proclivity for creating that. So thank you for that. Because, part of what happens to us from when we're a child, and we know how magnificent we are in those early years, and then these things that are on this dimension interfere. And we have to learn, and we are learning, how to diminish anything that interferes with the essence of the magnificent part of who we are. And not like an arrogant way or an egotist. It's not about egotistical. I am humbled to feel that I am now in that space now most of the time. Mm-hmm. And that's the best way we can honor who we are as a creation. And an invitation to anybody who's watching today to join us, whatever way you can. Be in touch with this wonderful, beautiful being that absolutely owns who she is with every fiber of her being. And that's remarkable. And I say that about John Strayer, who has created this magnificent space that is going to be international. Humankind, his wonderful concept. So make sure that you find out more about Humankind. Humankind.center.com, at Humankind. Just go find Humankind, because you're going to have fun exploring, okay? So, tell me, How do you do your work? And how did you come to be a medical intuitive, be guided into what work you're doing?
This definitely was my dad, who was medical intuitive. He was able to use his hands to scan and tell about the blockages. He could hear the ringing in his ears, which I also hear when I feel either energy coming, approaching, being, high vibrational being, because these are the ones that I invite to connect. But he was also able to see the blockage in a person. And usually everything starts in our emotions.
Right.
So we need to find the source of the emotional blockage. That's how I wanted to connect with people and tell them this is possible. Even if doctors don't know what to do, even the diagnosis is this, but actually you need to resolve this. I just knew. So I work with people one-on-one, mostly virtually. And sometimes they come to Tucson to see me.
But you do a Zoom with
I
them?
do Zoom, yes. I do recordings, I do coaching. I help them transition into the highest version of yourself, which is the second book is about the highest version of yourself. That's the title. And I teach people how to become that highest version of yourself. Because in that version, there's no sickness. There's no worry. There's no, I don't know. There's no maybe. There is no, I don't know who I am. This goes away. It's just an illusion of all of those questions.
Do you remember the conversation that we had about my discontent with this, with all, and I, not from an ego place, but from the time I was a child, I just came out with whatever I wanted to do. I was an artist. I ended up, winning awards on the radio I wrote an essay when I was 9 years old, and I won this Voice of Democracy contest in the state. I delivered this, imagine this little 9-year-old delivering this essay about democracy on the phone. I mean, and I was scaring people because the adults didn't know quite what to do with me. So I actually remember sitting on the steps of my home and deciding that I was going to dumb myself down. I was going to act like Gracie Fields, a little. So that was one of the masks that I put on. And it almost was like like an actor would take on a role, and the you that you really were was behind the scenes, not actually in operation. And so, I can remember consciously doing that. And I think that that's what happens to a lot of us. But when I just sit in her presence, there's a calmness about her, a presence about her. She knows who she is. And just being in her presence, that that's an invitation for you to be that, to know that, to operate from that. And I know I had a point in there somewhere, but I can't remember what it was.
We talk about that. I feel like you were shielding yourself into who you truly are because you were scared to show your truth.
Here's what it was. I said to her, with all of these gifts, and I know that I'm blessed to have them.
Of course.
And yet underneath, I still felt insecure. I hid that insecurity. And that's something that would gnaw at me. So I would be pushing myself to do things that, of course, I could do, but I never felt like I could do it. And so what has been coming to me are people around me that absolutely see the possibilities for what I can present and do and be, and then still that insecurity. And you said to me, do you remember?
No.
Come to the ceremony that we're doing, and this will erase it. It will take it away.
Purify you. to your true essence.
Now I'm going to tell you one more thing. What I know to be true in all of the human potential things, and I've done so many. I mean, I am the quintessential seeker. I've done it all. Been baptized 3 times. I've done Yamno, Ringikyo. I've done, everything. Lived in India, whatever. And I know that when you decide for something, and you know that you're going to do something that can make a shift, that in that moment in time, even before the experience, what has happened, my dear Daga, is I experience very little of that anymore. I don't feel like I'm in that insecure place that is a lie. It's just not something, and not, it's a little uncomfortable to actually claim that, to actually say, okay, I've let that old me go. I have reinvented myself. But to step into that presence of that new version of myself, it's a little bit scary.
Unfamiliar.
Unfamiliar. And can this really be true? And can I hold that space?
It's all those doubts that are fake. They're not even real.
Yeah.
They're telling you they are, but they're not. These are all the programs, all the things that people said to you, that people just say things, very mean things sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
But doesn't mean it's true.
Oh, yeah.
So now you have to tell yourself, in the highest version of yourself, you don't even hear those things. They don't exist. They disappear. They don't serve you anymore.
And so many of us have those things, those incidents. I remember everything before I could even speak. And the day that my mother died, I was 5 years old. My girlfriend remembers it vividly as well. The twin we sat out on the stoop, and I saw my mother had gone to Reno to visit her mother. She would go there to kind of recharge, whatever. My dad went there to pick her up. And I was sitting there, and then I saw my father's car, and I thought, Mommy and Daddy are home. And I ran to the door, to see them. And the door was locked. And I'm pounding on the door. I wanted to come in because I just loved my parents. I did. And of course, as children do.
Yes.
Finally, my Aunt Linda opened the door, and she was crying. And she said, "Stay outside. You can't come in. You can't come in. Your mother's dead." And, oh gosh, I'm going back almost to that moment. And I went to Deanna, my girlfriend, and I said, "My mother's dead." She remembers that day vividly. Finally, they let me in. In my big living room, there were family all around, and everybody was sobbing. My father was sitting in the car, in the chair, sobbing, and I just was like stunned. I didn't know what to do. So I just went back outside, and then, days later, they said, "Your mother died of a nervous breakdown." And then they said, because I was so exuberant, so much energy, and they said, "You drove your mother crazy." Can you imagine? Adults just don't know what they do.
You took it as your own.
I felt like I killed my mother. I drove her crazy. So in my adult aspects, I reflect on all of this. It's like to run that poor me stuff is boring. I took it as this. I basically not only raised myself, but I had wonderful connection with my father. And all of those situations made me strong, resilient, extremely capable. So it's not a sad story. It was my choice on some level to create all of those experiences, traumatic and so on. And I know you work with people in this way. Why? Because these are the gifts that move us into the higher aspects of who we are and where we're going.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, without the darkness, we don't see the light. And the light is very, very strong, and it never leaves us after there's such a deep darkness that we feel, we experience. As you know, I also went through darkness.
Yes.
And it was very strong. And I know I went through it to help people. This is a gift to go through darkness.
Do you mind sharing that darkness?
I was married to an abusive man, and it was really, really hard. My family was all in Poland, and I had to make a decision to run away when he is not looking. I took my 1-year-old child that is actually outside here, and we ran to a shelter in Phoenix, Arizona. So I understand the perspective of women, mothers, and maybe somewhat children, but I do feel for them, and I do, I know that darkness that I can connect with, because before you can connect with someone on such a deep level, you gotta feel that darkness. It almost is like this signal, and it's almost this frequency that, okay, I get this. I cannot read about it in books and feel it. Books are books. They're written words. They're beautiful to learn from, but not on that deep level. Person who studies spirituality, wants to be more spiritual, more aware, conscious, they won't learn as much from books. They might read 200 books, but one experience is going to change all their life. So for me, that was a very strong changing the moment to change my perspective on life and to make sure that my child is safe, I am safe, that we are in a place where it's completely uncomfortable and I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And although I have a home in Poland I could run back to, I couldn't, because that would have been called kidnapping of my child. And so I had to stay in Arizona for that matter. And that was 15 years ago. And then when I was pregnant with my second child, I found out in the end of my pregnancy that I have placenta prurita. So this is the placenta that attaches to other organs. And there's very high risk of losing your life. So I was informed about this. My whole pregnancy was going very well. Everything was going well. And because I was at the age where they called me the high risk pregnancy, that was 8 years ago, over 8 years ago, they said that I need to have a special doctor. And I happened to have this beautiful Greek doctor from Gilbert, Arizona. And she was amazing. She found that no other doctor saw it. She found that unique situation with the placenta that is hard to even diagnose. She found it. She said, I don't like something on this ultrasound. I don't like it. She kept me for 2 hours in the office. And she said, we need to find out. I'm going to schedule you to go to specialists. And they told me I have 50-50 chances of survival. So at this point, my firstborn was already 8 years old. And now I'm about to maybe lose the idea of being a mom and transition. because at that time I knew we don't die. I knew that. So what I did, I focused my mind and my energy, even in the hospital in Phoenix Banner University Hospital, where it has those amazing doctors, the specialists, which I'm very, very blessed to, we are blessed to have in such situations, wonderful doctors. And I don't go to a doctor, but here I was put on the spot. Hey, you better like those doctors because they're about to save your life. Oh, so I had to go from no doctors to, midwives, and then to, holistic approach, like no invasive, nothing, to, okay, you need to be open and just let them do what they need to do. It's going to be very extensive surgery. It's going to be very long. I'm going to have 12 doctors on the floor doing the surgery, watching me. If something goes wrong, one of those specialists will jump in and try to rescue me, try to save my life. So it was a very funny moment because I stayed awake and I told them I don't want to be put under the anesthesia. I want to be aware. If I decide to go, I want to say goodbye. If I decide to go, I want to know.
You want to be conscious when you pass.
Yes.
That's so critical.
Yes. And so I was treating the surgery as a just event in my life. So I was telling the doctors how to make pierogi.
What is that?
Pierogi, the dumplings, the Polish dumplings.
Oh, I'm just here almost going to die, but I'll tell them about. Are you sure you're not Italian? You sound like one of my relatives. Okay.
So one of the doctors his background was from Croatia. And so I had something to relate with, the European roots. And I was saying, oh, do you have, what kind of food do you like? And these doctors are just like doing their thing. And I had to be cut down.
And no anesthesia.
It was just in my
local?
back. Local.
Okay.
Although I could feel everything.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't accept medicine like that. It doesn't work with me on my level. So I was in a lot of pain. But I said, okay, either this way or this way, it's okay. It's okay. If I have my choice, I choose to be a mom for longer. I choose to raise my kids, and I would like that. But I also feel like I need to do something more in this world. This is not it. I feel it in my heart. And every time the doctor would come in, I was there 2 weeks. It was very uncomfortable. It was an old hospital. It was like everybody's trying to give me, the things here and the things, all kinds of medications that I didn't want. So I had to be very kind to everyone because I didn't want to shout. Because
if we're not,
and kick them out of the room.
Oh, God. I've got stories about being in the hospital. I can tell you. Yes, go ahead.
I understand. So I had my essential oils set up. I had my herbs everywhere.
Sorry, folks, but that's who we are. Go ahead.
Every nurse, every doctor would come in, and I had so many doctors come in every day. You have to sign this. You have to sign that. You'll realize you might die. You realize that this can happen. You realize, do you have a will? Do you have this? I had to write everything. And then I said, do you believe in God? Every single doctor. That was the question. And I was watching for their reactions, and they didn't want to answer that. It was very uncomfortable for them. And I appreciate the good doctors. I really do, because they did save my life in the end. And during the whole surgery, my whole point was, my intention was to see my baby. I kissed her on the cheek. I told them not to clean her. I had very specific directions on what to do and what not to do. So I had to fill out a book. What to do, what not to do, do not touch this, do not do that. Even holding, connection with the placenta. Like, I had all these rules for them. Even though there's like, no, you just want to survive. That should be your priority. And I said, no. Well, if I'm doing this right, well, I will survive, number one. I'm going to have a great experience that I can talk about later to inspire other moms that you can do this. Because I'm also part of a group I got a group of placenta precreta worldwide. I'm part of a large community of women who support each other, which we need to do because we're here to tell the stories of survival. And my big thing was when I was laying there, and that surgery was very long, very long. I was hungry, I was exhausted. The fear was trying to control me, but I said, no, you're not welcome here. I am divine being. And I know good things are coming, good things are happening to me. And I had to push away the dark thoughts at the whole time when I was in the hospital. When everybody told me, you will die, you will die, you will die. And I say, I don't think that's my
destiny.
perspective. I don't think I didn't feel it. Although I did prepare some paintings, drawings for my girls. I prepared things so they can have a memory of me. In the hospital, I was making those the colors, the coloring pages. They brought me the coloring pages, so I just keep coloring. And I said, okay, that's going to be for her. That's going to be for her. I haven't met you yet, but I love you. And I had to stay for myself and my kids in a positive mood, in a positive outlook, in a positive vibration. And I remember during the surgery, I said, okay, now they're going to just sew me up. They're going to take me to the room. I'm going to meet my baby. I'm going to breastfeed. And then I'm going to go to my friend who is on the same floor. She lives in Chandler. Hello. Maybe I can send it to her. She remembers. She's a wonderful woman. She was in a very similar situation I was. And she was on the same floor of the hospital, but it was quite a walk.
Oh my.
You know what I decided? I said, I'm going to walk to her because she had the surgery the next day. And I said, I'm going to make it a challenge for me. The same day, I'm going to walk to her on my 2 feet, not on a wheelchair. Nobody's going to help. I'm going to walk to her room and I'm going to say, you can do this. And it was the most incredible experience. And we both cried and we both were like, oh my gosh, like sisters, just in this pain and this darkness and this uncertainty, all these feelings of, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What to do? Fearful, but no, we shifted into, let's do it. Let's have an amazing story to tell.
And you certainly have shared an extraordinary story for all of our listeners on watch how this can impact. Because that's just an inspiring, and what I'm going to add one little part to this story, because what you've disclosed is the way that she co-created. We're talking about this co-creation. We are particles of the source, the divine. And you see, when you can hear this story, you can relate to it, you can put this into your consciousness. And should something occur in your path, and you can embrace it to know that you are in a co-creation stage. And there's one thing I'm going to add about this that I know I've been learning so much about how we manifest, because I've tried my whole life. I've studied and studied and studied. And I can do it, and I can't do it. I got that parking place. No. I'm learning still more. And one of the interesting parts that I think in sharing your experience there, you were willing, if necessary, that you were going to transition. Mm-hmm. If you were going to leave this body, there was still that element of, it's okay.
Easiness.
It's okay, but this is my preference. And that's one of the keys to manifesting anything. Daga just gave you a perfect story, a perfect instance where you can apply the principles that she's just discussed to your own life, to your own experience. And isn't it exciting to know that we can participate in the matter of our lives in such a powerful way and know that we're actually all moving into, is it the ascension? I would say yes. Is it enlightenment to know these things that really are the truth? Why? Because we can feel it. We can feel it. Mm-hmm. And I hope you can feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes. And what happens afterwards, the chaplain came in from the hospital and he said, I need to talk to you. You know you're a walking miracle, right? Everybody's talking about you. The whole hospital is talking about you. And I said, well, I'm not here to
Be a miracle?
I'm okay. That's
I'm just
great.
me.
I just did what I needed to do. I'm happy I inspired people. I'm happy I gave them hope, because giving hope is a big deal. Some people lose hope. Some people don't believe they can do it. They don't think they have enough of whatever they need to have to do whatever they need to do. But I can tell you, you can do anything you want. Anything. 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 Whatever you put your mind into it. As long as it's aligned with your heart, that's your fulfillment. That's your connection with the source. Yes. Not harming something or someone. Absolutely not. That's not alignment. That's going into the darkness. But if you can definitely do anything you want.
There's an acceptance in this. It's kind of tricky when we think about it, because it can sound like we're all puffed up about who we are, but it's not. There's a simplicity about it. There's a going homeness into who you know you always already were. And what we're doing is we're excavating the things that are in the way of us being able to be fully who we are. That's that's why we're here.
Yes.
Aren't we?
Yes. Yes. And another miracle was, I want to add this, that the doctors say that I lost less blood than typical C-section patient, which they say, I don't know how this happened. They don't know. They couldn't figure it out, because it was a very lengthy operation. It was very advanced.
There you are, cut open.
And I lost so little blood, like my body was like, okay, I'm on your side. Because when you choose yourself, everything chooses you.
Oh, that's great. When you choose yourself, everything chooses you. Yeah.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Daga, how do people reach you? Let's tell people how to reach you, please.
Well, in Polish language, Dagmara, Arizona, YouTube, or they can reach me on Instagram, Polka, USA.
You'd better spell that for them.
Polka, like the polka dots.
Polka. And the polka dance?
Kind of like, but polka means the Polish woman.
Oh.
In Polish, polka.
Polka.
Yes, USA.
Okay. So polka.USA?
Not that. Just Polka USA. That's it.
Wow.
And Dagmara Coaching is my website, dagmaracoaching.com.
And this podcast will be on your website, no doubt.
Yes. And my channel, definitely we're going live on Instagram. So you can rewatch it if you would like. And contact me if you have any questions, if you need guidance, if you are looking for choosing yourself, if you want to choose the highest version of yourself, if you want to be on that route, because that's a very exciting journey, very exciting.
And just to be in her presence, to be in her energy field is a healing in itself. I know that she has had impact on me in ways that she may not even know, because this is her first experience of me in person. Was it a surprise?
I am loving your whole presence. I love all of you.
Thank you.
And I'm very open, and I'm so happy we connected.
So am I. Because there's a certain thing that happens, and I know that this is true, that when we are at a certain frequency ourselves, that resonance connects immediately.
Mm-hmm.
That happens, the synchronicity. I mean, this whole thing today,
Mm-hmm.
I think we were just surrendered to the opportunity that the universe, quantum field, God, whatever we're going to call it, opened this doorway for us to have this shared time together. And of course, John Strayer has been our doorway. We love him.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. And so with that, I think we can bring this segment to a close. Be wise to connect with this beautiful presence and have the gift of her in your life. And so with that, we're going to close this segment and thank everyone for watching. And please, come see us again. I'm Kathleen Francis saying thank you so much for being with us today. Daga, how can I thank you enough?
Thank you. You already done it. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.
Dziękujemy za oglądanie, kochani.
Čaro doro, jarga dragove se. Dano kuro, čaro doro, jarga dragove se. Daro kuro, čaro doro, jarga dragove se. Taro koro charo doro yarga drago vese. Taro koro charo doro yarga drago vese. Taro koro charo doro yarga drago